And with that, it certainly has been a day of heartfelt tributes here in Louisville. Emotions and a strong show of support from law enforcement. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight at 5. I'm Doug Proffitt. The funeral and burial of Jefferson County Sheriff's Deputy Brandon Shirley. The 26-year-old was ambushed in Shively 1 week ago tomorrow, an off-duty security job, and he was in uniform. We began our coverage with WHAS 11's Grace McKenna outside Cave Hill Cemetery. She's been there all afternoon, where the Graveside service ended just after 3:30 this afternoon. Grace?
Doug, good evening. Well, the service today was filled with tradition, with honor, and as we heard today, one final call for Deputy Brandon Shirley.
Radio 24093. This is the final call for 4093. Jefferson County Sheriff's Deputy Brandon Shirley.
A horse-drawn caisson brought the casket to the grave near Muhammad Ali's resting place. There was a 3-volley salute. Flags were presented to Shirley's parents and life partner. An amazing grace wrapped an emotional day. First responders from across Kentuckiana played a huge role honoring one of their own. The large flag outside of Cave Hill was placed by the Zoneton Fire District. They spent the service thinking of one of their own.
It's a little bittersweet for us because one of our firefighters is actually family of the fallen officer. So for us to be right here at the last place means a whole lot more to Zoneton Fire.
A crowd from the community watched on as first responders from dozens of departments drove in. Some of those Zoneton firefighters telling me today that they aren't thinking today of the fire family or the police family. It's about all of those who are willing to serve their community like Deputy Shirley did. We're going to send things back to the studio now for more on the funeral service.
To know the impact my son had on people is outstanding. He is truly the best man I've ever met in my life. He's definitely the best of us.
That is Brian Shirley there. Words from a grieving father. 1,500 people, including officers from across the state of Kentucky and Indiana, attended today's funeral service at Southeast Christian Church. WHAS 11's Gabrielle Harmon was there at the church and has more from the service.
Funeral service started here today at noon at Southeast Christian Church. At least 1,500 people were inside paying their final respects to Deputy Brandon Shirley. There were officers from across the country, from Indiana, San Francisco, and Chicago, everyone giving their heartfelt remarks and prayers to the family at this time, many of them wanting to make sure that they paid their final respect.
I told him he would undoubtedly be asked, "Why do you want to be a deputy sheriff?" I encouraged him to try to come up with something more original than, "Because I want to help people." But that was probably bad advice, because that was exactly why Brandon wanted to be a deputy. He never stopped helping people.
I want to say thank you to you guys, from my wife and our family, for everything you've done, the amount of support you've showed us. Again, this is not a celebration of my son's death. This is a celebration of his life. He's never going to be gone from us. He's touching.
Once things wrapped up at the church today, the procession started for Cave Hill Cemetery in the Highlands of Louisville. Here's the procession route. It's 11 miles long from Southeast Christian Church on Blanca Baker Parkway, then west on I-64 to the Grinstead Drive exit off the interstate to make it over to Cave Hill Cemetery. The Sky 11 drone was right here over the Blanca Baker campus there on Blanca Baker Parkway of Southeast Christian Church when the long procession left the church just before 2 o'clock this afternoon. The hearse escorted by the Jefferson County Sheriffs, LMPD, Kentucky State Police, and several departments from around the region. Indiana State Police, Lexington Police. It was a true show of force. The procession, when it moved to the interstate, ended up being about 8 miles long itself and then moved at a slow pace toward Cave Hill. WHAS 11's Kristen Goodwillie shows us the people lined up along the route as the sheriff's deputy made his last drive through Louisville.
You can hear the traffic rushing by here on I-64 West. We're up here on Pee Wee Reese Road, but at 2 o'clock, it was a different story as the procession came by. This entire bridge was filled with people and firefighters as they came to pay their respects to the fallen deputy, Brandon Shirley. Banners were hung, American flags flown, and people waving.
I could have not expected a better outcome today.
Many people came to this bridge overlooking I-64 to show their support. Teresa Key's two sons are in law enforcement.
We can't send enough condolences and love. We're so sorry for your loss.
Sean Franklin is retired from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office.
It never gets any easier. And to see someone so young, so new, who as a person himself take the badge away, was a genuine great person, it just hurts that much more.
As the bridge became more and more crowded, the procession came forward, heading west to Cave Hill Cemetery. The immediate silence took over.
I figured there would be more disruption, and there wasn't two people the entire time we were here.
Firefighters stood in line shoulder to shoulder. The eastbound lanes on the interstate stopped without prompt. Many began crying.
It was just a sombering moment. You know, my thoughts went to the family of Deputy Shirley and of those that worked with him, that they have to live with that for the rest of their life, and it's just so sad.
While the silence held heavy during the procession, those that came out said they felt a unity with one another. The entirety of the procession lasted for a little over 30 minutes. I'm Kristen Goodwillie, WHAS 11 News.